Hello everybody, I'm back with our afternoon video. I'm just going to grab a small blanket for a second. Sorry, my legs got chilly. I was kind of sweeping up around, and it's hard for me to do when I'm doing my videos to have my big blanket wrapped around me. And because when I try to roll. So we were working on clusters last week. We did different types of clusters, different types of bases. There's more clusters I can show you, but what we'll do is maybe we'll take a break from the clusters and then come back and revisit clusters again in a month. Unless you really want to see more clusters, I can do that as well. But today what I'm going to do, these are the clusters I made the other day, is we're going to kind of look at how we can use these clusters, how you can use them in your journals and other ways to use them. It's something I've been trying to do more. I love clusters. Of all the ephemera making, I like doing tags, but clusters are my favorite thing to do. It's probably why I do a lot of them. And several things I do. I keep, like I said before, I'll keep just basic bases ready without being embellished. That way, depending on where I need it or the color theme. Right now I have a lot of pink. I need to do some purple and some more neutrals up. I do the same with my paper ones. And I'm almost out of just paper clusters. That's all I have left. Catherine with Mindful Image, she bought a bunch of my base clusters, so I had taken a little bit out of that, and then I just haven't had time to catch up. I need to sit and do a day with my scraps, because I have scraps upon scraps upon scraps, and just do some clearing up. And then I also keep some that are embellished in the lace, so they're ready to go. So I try to keep 2 sets, and the same with more without, but I use more lace and fabric clusters than I do just strictly paper, and so I keep some on, and even those are really low because I just did some surprise packages and I threw clusters in there that I had already done. So, and then recently, this is for sale in my group, I did way out of my what do you call it? The word just went right out of my brain. I used it with like a deep red, and this is called Rosalina, and I did both. This is paper, but some of this paper does have little tips of lace in it as well. I think lace just really adds a little something to the clusters, and these are more layered lace and material clusters on this side. So I do have that for sale in my thing, and I do commission ones. I just had someone commission she has a commission of a red one, but that was a while ago. She just had put it on hold for a bit. I have done commission coffee ones. They turned out beautiful, and I'm so mad at myself because I didn't take a picture of it. If you can imagine, I did not take a picture of it. And I should have, because I had some on my site that she had seen and someone had bought, and she asked me if I could do it. And I said, sure I can. And they came out so beautiful. I do have other. And so, just in case, I'm grabbing some packages I have for my store. If I use out of them, then I'll remake them when we're looking at how we can use clusters. I have a set of well, maybe this isn't a set ready to go. Maybe this was a set I was going to make, and that's why it's like that. I'll have to look at that and see what that is about, because that was in my box for my store. And then I have these black and cream ones that turned out beautiful as well. And the only reason I pulled that out is because I don't have any. I make paper flowers with a stamp, and that's what this is on it. And I've got to make some more of those. I got to sit. Those are very time consuming. They take a lot of time to do, but they're beautiful. Like this one I did with the black. It was a type of writing page, a script, and I did it with black, and it turned out, these flowers turned out beautiful. You can see, like, I do different sizes. And sometimes even in with my clusters, I'll show you, I'll throw a few extra of the flowers in. You can see them without. And they as well can be used. These flowers can be used by themselves on a page. I love them. And I don't use them enough because I need to mass make them, is what I need to do. I'm behind in my mass making of them because they are time consuming. So right now it doesn't look like I do anything but pink, but I do other colors. And I brought that close just in case I use one. Like I have these clusters that where is it? This cluster here, which was all just done with book page. I've seen a video on it. I need to practice it a little bit more. So this one might be the one we might do. And I use different punches with it. I'm going to cough because I'm on camera. So let me stop yip-yapping and let's get busy, girls. I don't think I have no guys subscribers right now. I was just looking at my statistics. I just learned how last week and then I forgot and relearned it just a few minutes ago. So these were the ones we made. And I made some more, but for some reason, what did I do with the paper ones I made? Or was that it I did? I made more clusters than that, didn't I, guys? Well, I guess not. I guess not. Okay, let's get to it. I grabbed a few things out to maybe use on them. I went into my tags that are ready. So on this tag, I can do two things. You can add a cluster on it this way. Like one of the bigger ones, other than I don't want to hide that page. Oh, here. Because I don't want to really hide. So it fits perfectly on this tag. And so I'm going to turn this one into the... Now, because this cluster is a little heavier, I'm worried that the glue stick might... Because it's a heavy cluster. It's very heavy. So I'm going to use actually this glue instead of the glue stick on the tag because I just think it'll be better for it. If it's a small one, the glue stick won't matter. So simple. If you have, I usually mass make these. I'll pull out my pages and just make a bunch. And voila, as simple as that. Now, if this sticking up bothers you, which it does a little for me, as you can see, I keep pushing it. I don't like to really glue them down, but in this case, I might put a little glue. Maybe it's this section that it's doing it. There, that's better. I think it looks better. Oh, and like I said, it's a heavy one, so might have to hold it for a second. So there you go. Simple tag. And so then you can do your tab as normal with your paper tab. You can punch the hole and tie it. I don't do that, as I think I've said that in my other videos. I wait to know what type of pocket it's going. Do I have a lot? If I have 3 tags in there, do the other 2 have? So I'll alternate between ribbon and paper. Also, I don't have any. I didn't make any, and I don't know why I didn't make any with you guys. I should have. I like to make little tiny ones also, and in this case I wouldn't use this one because it's too bright for what I did, but it was just the mini one, and I will make those as a topper. So I actually think that when I do this, because of the lace, I might go with Wonder if I have a more neutral one, just so we can see how it looks. I think this one is still too pink. And I don't think that tells you I need to do clusters. I need to sit in a day and just cluster. And I want to get some made for my store as well. So I don't have any mini ones that would look good there at this moment. And I'm leaving this out for a reason. Okay, so there's the tag ready. Ready, ready, ready. I'm just making sure that it's holding, and there we go. A cluster used on a tag. All right, and in this case, let's say I just want a small, I don't want to really embellish it much. I could put a smaller cluster, but I think, and what I don't have, the thing, I think what if I was doing one, I might want a longer one on this. But this might just end up being an image, and where I would put the cluster is up here. So, and it doesn't have to necessarily, like, I love using the scalloped ones for the top. And say on the other side, you don't want that plain, you could do a small, you could pull out an image, which is a lot of times what I'll do. And then that way the scallop circle isn't fully showing plainly there. And especially if you don't want that, if you're picky about the staple showing, then you can just take, and that's one of those stamped images, and it actually looks really nice there. So you can do that as well. Because I don't know what journal it'll go in right now, I don't think I have a journal for it right now. But that way you get a cluster, and like necessarily you don't have to do anything more in here, but I think I would, and I don't think I'd put a stamped butterfly, but I think what I would do, I'm just trying to think, is my pink ones put back in here? Let's see, I've got things from doing all the clusters with you guys. I got to put the drawer back where it belongs. That's what I really need to do. Just seeing if I quickly can see my pink butterflies up here. Sorry for my arm. And of course, it's not going to come out handy because I'm looking for it right now. Oh, I got to get those in an order. That is an organization thing I have to do this week because it's driving me crazy. And since I cleared it out, I just see if I have a pink butterfly laying around somewhere here on my desk, because sometimes I do, since I can't find, but I can't. Or we could take and add another image to it as well, if we wanted to. That's actually really nice on a tag. So I'm not going to glue it right now because I don't know if that's the one I would use there, but that's as well how you can use it on tags, on as toppers on tags. Okay, I'm going to actually, we probably won't make many. I think I'm just going to do more of a show and tell on this. I just wanted to see show you how nicely, oh, here, before I go a step further, and I don't have a purple one, you can, this is a pocket I have ready. I wanted it as a side pocket. I have to still put the tab on this. And I gotta fix that up because that's not done very well. But this was supposed to be a floating pocket. But let's just for now pretend it's a pocket that's going in the bottom of a journal. This is where a nice, and this cluster is going the wrong way, but even a nice cluster, and I don't have a really big cluster for this. Let's just see if we have a really big cluster in here. I don't think I do. Like the heart one, one of these heart ones I do would be big enough for that. But I still find it needs a little bit more. So decorate, if it was a smaller pocket, then you can also put a cluster on as well. Okay. That was just another tag I pulled out. This is a pretty plain one. So again, you might want something larger on this, depending on how you want to go with it. Again, it could be a topper. Again, here's a little, I haven't finished this one. It's in my to-do box. But here's the front. Again, a little, whoop. They can be used to embellish a pocket. So that's some. Again, I have another envelope. You could use it. And in this case, because I've got the cardstock, if you wanted the envelope, let's say that's glued on, you could put a little higher so that the tip of the envelope is underneath it. So it can act as a closure as well for an envelope. And I do these where I keep these strips. A lot of people would throw them out. I don't. Is this one long enough, that side? Let's see. Let's cut that paper off. I'm just a believer that you can use everything for something. Trust me. I have a bad habit. I've got another box and one box. What I was thinking of doing this coming week, I have this box. It's got envelopes. It's got like a lot of recycled used things. I'm thinking we might work on this box, pull out something, decide if we're going to do a journal card, a pocket out of it, and maybe play around with our junk that we have laying around. All those things that we plan to recycle with. I think trying to decide if I want to just do, yeah, I think I'll use this side. I got to cut the white off because I wished I could learn this. I don't know if I've tried everything with my machine to get rid of that. Everything. Grab the glue stick. I like using, I used to always think everything you put in the pockets has to be very practical. But you know what? Sometimes we just need something pretty in there. It's not very straight. Either the paper's not straight or the thing isn't straight, but I'm not worrying about that right now. I would even that up later. Yes, I don't throw that out. That will go to make a small masterboard for my okay. I just want to, today I was talking with Catherine. I learned how to find the people that subscribed thing, but it also shows people that unsubscribed. I don't know, like, if you decide my channel isn't for you, that's not a problem. I'm not worried about that. But I was just talking with Catherine, with Mindful, and me and Catherine are really good friends, and we support each other. In March, she's going to be my Monday before I jump back into Christmas. And because we're friends, I can ask her, and I know she wouldn't get offended if she unsubscribed to my channel, because it shows that her Mindful Image YouTube channel unsubscribed to me. She goes, no, I didn't. And I have this feeling, and I heard another person say this, that YouTube has been unsubscribing people. I don't know if it's if they don't watch you enough, then they remove it. I don't know. So what I do is I do this. How cute is that? If you wanted to, you could, if you wanted to add more to this, you could layer butterflies flying up this, which now that I say that, that would be really pretty. But I don't want to dig through that right now. But that's probably how I'm going to probably use this topper right on this one. And I'm going to put tiny purple butterflies flying up this. And I will cover the back. Even if I sometimes write quotes on the back of these. Or just a short little, And I really like that. And because I'm not ready to glue it, because I want to see how my butterflies are going, and I have no paper. Oh, I have a paper clip here. I don't have a big paper clip, but I have a little paper clip. And I will do this because I'm going to finish this idea up later. And you can do it either way. You could clip it under, and I would put something on the back of this. Again, I don't have the right color here. I have to do a purple board, but I would just stick something like this on the back of it, or whatever you want. But I'm only paper clipping this because I want to put the butterflies on first and my paper on the back. Okay, and I'll show you different ways I use this. Now let's look in some journals and see clusters. Now I have one journal I started. Eventually it'll be for sale. I was hoping this week, but I haven't had a chance to get on it. This journal that I threw together with extras just laying on my desk. And I wanted them all uneven, and I wanted it like that. And it's going to be bulky. She's going to be a big bulky baby. This is a cluster I made, and you see me do it on camera. I started it and then finished it with glossy accent, and I layered a couple pieces of lace underneath it before I put the cluster. And then I took this type of lace I have and put that, and I added a flower. I wanted it very, and of course the lace. But here's another cluster I made. I put it on the pocket. This isn't a cluster, I just did a belly band. This is a cluster with one of my butterflies on it, and it's on the pocket. Just one of the clusters using stamped images. That's a stamped image I have, and that's a stamped image I have. If you don't have digitals, that works really well. And I think because it just started, oh, this is a tiny little cluster. Paper, it's all fabric, lace, and paper. And I think that's it, because this I just really, and I did this one, but I haven't found an image yet for it. So that's just that one there. Now, one I can really show you in depth of how I use clusters. I think I used it quite a bit in this. I love clusters, like I said. So this is a cluster here with one of my heart buttons I make. And it's just, I don't even think it's all lace and fabric. This is another cluster, but it's a paper cluster. This is a cluster with the scalloped edge, and I put a little bit of fabric ruffle. You can't see it because I put that big pink, but it acts like a tab. Okay, I'm seeing what else I have in cluster. This is a paper cluster with lace, and I put it on that. You got to remember with lace in that, you got to be careful when you put them into pockets. Let's see how else I used a cluster in here. Oh, here's another cluster. I do a lot. Oh, the thing fell off of this. I've got to look for that. I should have a charm or a button on that. I'll have to fix that. So I made a tab. I cut a little tab shape. What I have is I have a small tab punch, and I don't have any of them sitting here. And I just cut the top of it and used it as my tab, and I glued a cluster on it. And I didn't make this into a button. I just used my heart-shaped punch with some leftover masterboard and turned that into a cluster. And then on the other side, because I did so much of it, that's the tab, I just put the little flower, small little flower cluster. So the clusters can be another cluster. So you can see I use clusters quite often. This is another cluster with fabric. And then this paper I just collaged put it on the bottom with one of my homemade buttons. I got to retie that. So as you can see, clusters, this really isn't a cluster, it's just a thing. Here's another cluster I did. As you can see, I use clusters a lot to decorate the side of the page. So it's got paper, lace, paper, a masterboard heart, and then an image. So you can see, oh, here's one of those clusters I used as a topper. Well, it's not a big cluster. A cluster doesn't, this has 3 pieces to it. It has one of these from a tablecloth, and then a little 2 pieces of lace, and then one of my hearts. And here I have a cluster as well. I just put it, it flips out, and I wanted something up in the corner here. I could have even put a longer cluster. If I wanted to, you know, that word cluster where I said, it would also look cute on the bottom of a page. This is one of those images I sell in the packages. I turn one of them into a pocket. Another cluster. This is a lot of lace, one of my buttons, and a flower. So you can make them as big as you want. And I put the tab to the top. I just liked it at the top, so I did it that way. Let's see, do we have any more clusters in here? As you can see, I use them a lot. I have a cluster, a tab cluster, where I use my actual tab punch, and I cut some of the ends. There's the, see it? It's the tab punch, and then I put a cluster on it for the tab, and I did the same on the back because I wanted a cluster, because it actually sticks up at the top of my journal, so I wanted it decorated on both sides. And then here I did a cluster with a wax seal. As you can see, I love clusters. Here's another cluster with paper and lace and one of my stamped images. That's a flip out. Another cluster. I love clusters. I think it's a great way to add a little something to, and I notice some people don't embellish like I do. I love a lot of embellishment. This is another cluster on the top of it. It's mainly paper, and it's got a little bit of lace and a flower, and it's just on the back of the tag. It acts as a tab. This page had a lot of clusters. See, this is the little ones I'm talking about. And it's got a little cluster on it. And I just tucked it in here. How cute is that, just sticking out at the top of that pocket? And then this is another cluster with paper, lace, and one of my stamped images. And a little pearl. Another cluster. I should count how many clusters I put in this one. Another cluster. And I put this down as the tuck, and then put the cluster onto it. Again, it's only 1, 2, 3 pieces. Well, technically. So clusters can be thick or small depending on the space. No cluster here. This is a bit of a cluster, not much. Right here. I don't know why that just flashed. We shouldn't be even close to the time. Okay, we're fine. Oh, I think because someone messaged me. Okay, I thought it shut off, and I was like, I know I haven't been an hour. I know I'm bad for that, guys, but I get carried away. And I think that is how I used clusters in there. Okay, oh, let's tie her up. This journal I actually is to send to somebody. I had it all packaged up a certain way, and the post office told me I can't package it that way. So I have to redo the thing. Thank goodness they did it before I paid for it in the other postage. So it had to come home, and I haven't got the proper thing yet. They were out of the size of box I needed at the post office. Here again, I'm just going to walk through, see what I can see that I used cluster a different way that I might have used a cluster. See, a cluster. This is actually, sorry, that isn't a cluster. That's a paper ruffle I did folding, and then I just put some lace. I thought it was a cluster. And clusters can be different. This is just 2 pieces, so it's, to me it's not really that much of a cluster. I'm trying to see. I don't think I got, there's a cluster here with lace and a button, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a particular thing I did to show you guys. And I don't know which journal I put it in. Again, I tell you guys, I love my stamped images on clusters. That's a cluster. I think we did that one with you guys watching. I showed you guys that one. And I don't think there's anything else cluster-wise in here. Where did I put? I was sure it was in here. Let me just... You know when you know you did something? Maybe it's a journal I already sold. In there, not in there. I wanted to show you how I use one of those little things just to decorate the pocket. And no, it wasn't that one. I got to put this one up for sale. I think I've got 2 pages left. Let me see if it's in this one. Because this is a little one, so I might have done it in here. This one is a good one that I think I would want to put a cluster on. Do I have a cluster in here that I like for it? No, maybe not, because I would hide. It needs to be flat. That one isn't flat enough. But I think I have to make a cluster for that one. And same with this. I think I need a cluster on this. I need a pretty cluster there. It's a little too big. Oh, maybe this little one will look cute here. That's what we're going to do, but we have to put a little something else on it too. That's why I make these little tiny ones. Sometimes you just need a little something on a corner, but I'm missing something for there, and they are close by, so you're getting to see me actually put one in the journal. Clusters are, anytime you get a journal made by me, there are also going to be lots of clusters in it, because I like to use clusters. There. Perfect. I got to be careful because that's got to dry, so I'm just going to keep my hand there. Did I put it in here? Is it this one? There, again, on a tag is a cluster, and then I used one of my small tag from my tag punch. But that's not, see, another cluster with a stamped image. Okay, I do not know where, maybe it's not another cluster, another cluster. Huh. This is bizarre. Can't close that. I gotta let that dry. There's only one other journal I could think it would be in. That's really bothering me because I'm sure this one I had up for sale, but I want to put some more something there. It is a, she's a okay, I'm hoping I put it in. I might end up putting her on sale. Nope, that's not it. Boy, guys, I know I used one somewhere. Maybe it is a journal I already sold, because I don't see it in here. Huh. Anyways, and I didn't see any little pocket to show you. I have so many journals, guys, started. Like this one isn't even, hasn't even, I made the binding too big, so I have to put another one in here. But mind you, like I have so many journals started that I need to do some, that has to be one of my days. I have to just pull out a journal and work on it. And I especially, by the time, I won't get this done before I go home now. Maybe, oh. This one's a big one, and it's for my niece, and I've been working on it forever. Let's see if I put it in here. This one I haven't bound yet, which was silly. I learned that lesson from this. Bind them before you embellish them, because it makes it so much easier. I'm not really trying to see if I show one of those little sticks that I use. And why is that sticking? Like this journal, what it was is it was already bound and it was too small, and I had to go bigger, and it's not in here, I'm sure of it. Sure of it. Some of this is 2 years. I think I started this 2 years ago. The poor girl has been waiting forever for it. Because I made it too big, I didn't stop. I kept making it bigger, adding pages. This is really going to bother me, so we'll just show you, since I can't seem to find it. But just say on this, let's say this one is too small. I like to take those little ones and stick them in a pocket. This is really cute if you have like, for instance, if I turn this into a pocket, I might put another little pocket and stick it in. Right? That's how I sometimes like to use those. If they're longer like this, it doesn't match, of course. And I'll put it in with the tag. I like using these. Or if I do sometimes you might have seen it over on one of the, when I do this, a long pocket. What journal did I show you that I had a long pocket on? I think it was this journal. I'll find it quickly. I'm just going through it quickly. Oh, here. So on this one here, when I made this page, I'll take the things out so you can see. It was a music page, and I took a digital, put it here, and then I put a digital over top. And I for some reason, I wanted a lot of that to show. So I put some lace on the bottom, and I put this very narrow, which I need to fix the gluing on it. I think I tried to use a cheap glue stick because I couldn't get my good ones. And so then it's got one pocket here, which that doesn't go in there. It goes in here. And then this goes here. And this is one, really and truly, it needs a cluster. It really does. It needs something more on it. Oh, that one might fit on there perfectly. See? I like that on there. See how useful having those clusters ready? Like, it's ready. That glue comes out so quickly. I don't really need that much glue. have a paper towel close by. But now, the problem you have with clusters sometimes is the pocket. So sometimes you got to kind of be gentle and lift the pocket up a little. So normally when I do these, I like to do two things. Sometimes I like to make a little scrap pad like this, and I put an image and then I slide it in there and I put the image to the top. But as well, let's pretend that this is done in pink. Even something like this sitting in it looks nice too. So that's sometimes what I like to keep some of these narrow ones for. When I do a big pocket like this, I like to do a little side pocket. So that's what those are great for. And having that nice cluster on top, it adds to this top of this. This I'm not liking in here anymore. I'm probably going to take that one out of there. But as you can see, and I got to fix that pocket anyways. So that's how you can use that, and with that cluster to the top, it looks really nice. And technically, if you put it up higher, you could even paper clip it in and have it sitting cutely on the top of the journal hanging out. Would be cute as well. So like in a place like here, let's say that this is, you got that high pocket, and let's just say this wasn't in here and this was done in pink. Oh, it's too low. But let's just say it could sit nicely and have a little decoration to the top of the pocket. There we go. And even this, I almost feel like it needs a little. I'm telling you, clusters sometimes add that nice little. I am going to make one, but I know exactly how I want it. This one's too big. Also, you have to watch though when you're doing clusters, because if they're too top heavy when you want to put it in a pocket, especially a narrow pocket like this, it can rip it up. So a lot of times when you're doing clusters like this, let me move this up. This is a big pocket, so it's easier to lift it up and put something with a cluster on it. Where did we put that? Oops, things are falling out of here. All right, so this one has the cluster, so it's a little bit easier to put it in. But you got to remember, it's going to add a little bulk. But I don't care because I like a bulky journal. Whereas in here, so when you're doing your clusters, think about that, see? But in this case, you could, oh, no, you can't. Sometimes you could put the lace on the outside. So you have to be careful because this pocket doesn't really lift that high. So it's a little harder to get in. So you have to think about that when you're putting clusters on tags. That's why sometimes a tag won't get a cluster on it till I know what pocket it's going, or they're great in a tuck, right? But even that leaves it a little bulky and it might fall out more. So that's one of the things you do have to think about when using clusters. If you have a journal like this one is actually perfect for it. Maybe not. Maybe I just have to lift it properly, right? So think about that when you're using clusters. Okay, guys? Even like, say you have this tag and you're not going to put it in a pocket, you could actually add that. See, on this, I could have added the tag there. And if you don't glue it all the way, you could add another tuck spot here. Right? So even with a tag, they can be used in different ways in your pocket. And see, something like this would fit perfectly because it lifts and it's not going to fall out. Okay? I'm just trying to see if there's a place in here. Maybe I can put this one because I think the butterfly goes nicely with this. So we're going to put this one here. I like that. I I like that. So let's put him in there, or her, or it, whatever you want to call it. The cluster. And again, I can use a glue stick. It's not that heavy. Use your judgment with the glue. Sometimes I find when you use a wet glue and the paper's thin though, you'll see it through the other side. That's something I've been learning with if you get a good quality glue stick, then you don't have to worry. And I really like this. There we go. And again, I don't like how that's sticking up too much. So I'm just, and the only nice thing about a glue stick, you have a few minutes to change your mind. Not long. I had to be careful because I put it too close to the other edge and the wings were going to get. And what I noticed with this, I hadn't put his little antlers. And see, if you're going through this later and you find that, oh, I need a little something more, that's where pulling in, this is the wrong pink. I need a dollar pink, but that's where you could add a flower in there. Right? And then if you wanted a little bit more oomph to it also, or the one that might look nice, but I don't know where. I have some here. I love this because I use it in such a way. I forgot to take something out for dinner tonight. Oh no. Guess we're having tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. Uh-oh. I don't even know what time it is anymore. Normally, sometimes I know the time because Andre goes pick Jacob at 2:30, but his mom is picking him up today. So you could take just something as simple as that and put it as well. So you can add more to it later if you'd like to add a little more bling to it. So there we go. And you have to, so that's how you can use clusters. And you see that I use them quite often. Quite often. I don't think I have any, see, Christmas cluster. So most of my journals have clusters throughout them because I love them. Oh, and the other thing I didn't show, you can use them. These clusters I put this collaging, but you can also, I'm trying to see if I got an empty bag here. You can also put, obviously these are a little smaller, but that's where I could pull this in and stick, say, that on it, and you can decorate the bag as well. And you can layer 2 different clusters on top of each other as well. All right, so there you go. This isn't supposed to be on there. You could raise this up if you had an image here and do this. So you can use them on your bags. Or this already has something, you can go on a filter. Again, I could have turned this one sideways to make it bigger. I'll do that. This got something on it somehow. All right, so you can use it to, they're so versatile. Well, that's it for us today, ladies. And if there's a gentleman out there, gentlemen, but I'm pretty sure most of my viewers are ladies. If there's something special you'd like to see, if you'd like to see more clusters, let me know. Do you like the idea of seeing what we can make out of the junk we have laying around? That's supposed to be in there. And that goes in there. That's a custom order, the collaging on the bags. So we've seen different ways we can use clusters as tabs, on tags, on pages, at the bottom, the top corner, as tabs, on this one, for instance, and this one. So there's so many versatile ways to use clusters. That's why clusters are great for mask making, both ready to go, and even like, for instance, when I was doing that, okay, I need a little cluster for something. Okay, there we go, right? So, and then you just embellish with what you need. So having those on hand is perfect. I definitely would say that having bases and ready clusters on hand is perfect in your journal making. All right, ladies, it was wonderful. Thank you for joining me. And as you can see, the stamped images we did the week before, how often I do use them on my clusters. All right, thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. See, because even, can't do it there, but even the bee just on, and I would embellish it more underneath it. Stamped images are amazing on, because like, look, I could do something maybe a little smaller and add to that. So play with what you have, enjoy your stamps, enjoy your clusters, and just create. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me today. Love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow. And hopefully people comment whether they want to see more clusters right away, or they want to see what I do with piles of junk we got that we collect. All right, tags, journal cards, whatever pops into our head when we pull it out of the box. Have a great evening.